Todd Bowles is the head coach of my favorite football team, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. There was a moment last season when it seemed like it was just a given Todd Bowles was about to lose his job, but then the Buccaneers got hot. They won a bunch of games in a row, and Bowles actually received some Coach of the Year votes, which I thought was a little bit silly, but again, sometimes the voters don't view things the exact way that I do about things, but still, what's to make of Todd Bowles? Is he a good coach? Again, how can he be someone that people thought should be fired and receive Coach of the Year votes in the same year? Well, I want to do a deep dive into what's the good of Todd Bowles and what's the bad. Because to me, he is very clearly a coach that has very clear positives and very clear negatives. Let's start off with this play, which I'm not even going to show anything on the screen. I'm just going to pause it to discuss kind of, real quick, what the Tennessee Titans like to do. So this was, really kind of what started the hot streak for Tampa Bay. They were 3-5. This win kind of, all of a sudden you felt better about yourself if you were a Tampa Bay fan. But the Titans love to run the ball a lot and then run things off of running the ball, run a play action, things like that. That's kind of their mindset. And one of the things that I feel like smart coaches realize is when you have a team like that, you want to play more aggressive, not less aggressive. On top of it, Will Levis, rookie quarterback, might struggle against pressure, so let's pressure him a lot. You're going to see that that's what Todd Bowles does. He sends pressure. Devin White does a great job blitzing, as he, for all his faults, has always been a great blitzer and is able to get the sack right there. This game, Todd Bowles was all over Will Levis, consistently pressuring, and he's not someone that if he sees that, something is working, he'll still try to stick to his game plan or whatever. He's not afraid to say, hey, this play is working. Let's spam this play until they stop it. That's what he did against Tennessee and was a big reason they beat the Tennessee Titans. Although going over to this Carolina play, so he's going to do the opposite on this one. He is not setting the house. They're just going to drop back and play coverage, which he was also certainly not afraid to do against Carolina. Granted, I think most defensive schemes worked against the Carolina Panthers last season. Sorry, Panthers fans watching this video. But you see on this one, Bryce Young takes a snap. Nothing really is open enough for him to want to throw it down the field. Throws it underneath, and it doesn't go very well for the Panthers. This is another thing Todd Bowles will do. He's not afraid to just drop back and play zone if he feels like that's his best option. Like, he's not someone who has to play a specific way. He's not like Greg Williams, like he will, change things up if he feels like it is necessary. And I would also say for some negatives when it comes to just his defensive coaching, I think this is a trap that I've certainly fallen into, and I think it's easy to fall into, is stuff like this where it's going to be zone coverage. You have Amon-Ra St. Brown going up one-on-one against Zion McCollum, which is just not a good matchup. Also a huge spot in the game. It's a 3rd down and 15. Tampa Bay is down just 7 points. If they can get a stop here, they're looking to be in pretty good situation given how their offense has kind of woken up, starting with the 2-minute drill at the end of the first half. When this play begins, though, Jared Goff takes the snap. He's going to fire it towards Amon-Ra St. Brown, who's open right here. Zion McCollum isn't doing a great job of protecting that first down marker. And I'm not even going to sit here and say there aren't fair criticisms to put on Todd Bowles here. For one thing, why are you letting Zion McCollum be on Amon-Ra St. Brown? Why aren't you having someone else follow him? He's their key guy. I think another comparison that would jump out to me would be the Cooper Kupp play in the divisional round. Bowles put Antoine Winfield on Cooper Kupp because Winfield is a good cover safety, but also because Cooper Kupp was in the slot. But let's be honest, Cooper Kupp is not just a slot receiver. They probably should have had a corner covering him instead. But you see here, it's a completion. Amon-Ra St. Brown does pick up the first down on that play. The Lions would go on to score a touchdown, and that would essentially be the game-winning touchdown. The Buccaneers got another touchdown to bring them within one score, but were not able to get another one to, tie the game. This is a play that is very easy to get mad at Todd Bowles on, and like I said, you could definitely point to some things that he could have done differently, but part of what happened, I thought, last year when the defense looked poor was they had no corner depth, and Zion McCollum wasn't really ready to be an outside corner for Tampa Bay. Maybe it'll be better this upcoming season. I think it's a little weird that they feel so confident in him that that's kind of their only option. However, it's kind of something I've always believed in is, in hockey, if you have a bad goalie, everyone thinks the coach sucks. In baseball, if you have a bad bullpen, everyone thinks the manager sucks. In football, if you have a bad secondary, everyone thinks the defensive play caller sucks. To me, I do think that while it's easy to criticize Bowles, and like I said, I've done it before too. A lot of times it was, like the game where they gave up a million yards to C.J. Stroud. More often than not, while there's critiques you could put on the coach, usually it's the player's fault, not the coach's fault. Although I also want to go over here, this is another, I think, critique that is to me very valid with Todd Bowles, which is it's zone coverage, and this is just something you would see happen pretty frequently is these, and you still see happen, is these miscommunications. There's so many different concepts you have to know if you're playing for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers secondary. These things happen. Look at Carlton Davis on this play. He is, discussing what's going on, and also worth noting the situation. It's a 3rd down and 20. You should feel pretty good about yourself. 3rd down and 20. The Rams are at their own 30. This is not a dangerous situation. However, when this play begins, somehow the Rams' best wide receiver, Cooper Kupp, is wide open right here. And I don't even care about it's, Cooper Kupp's very good at running routes, and Sean McVay's very good at scheming this stuff up. You have to be better than this. And this would happen plenty of times, and does happen plenty of times for Tampa Bay. Stafford's not going to miss that throw. They get a 70-yard touchdown, which was certainly a huge play in that game as it helped get the Rams that big lead that, of course, the Buccaneers came back and tied it, only for Cooper Kupp to crush my hopes and dreams by winning it at the end there. There are very valid criticisms to put at Todd Bowles and his defensive play calling, but the kind of thing is, I feel like everyone thinks that their coordinator or their play caller or what their head coach is worse than they actually are at specific X's and O's usually, because you only get you tend to only get blame when things go wrong, and the players tend to get credit when things go right. As at the end of the day, Todd Bowles, the good outweighs the bad for his defensive play calling. He's always been a good defensive play caller, even 2 years ago when, in my opinion, he was just bad as a head coach. I thought that he still was a good defensive play caller. It was just the other stuff that was the biggest issue. So what is the other stuff? For one thing, Byron Leftwich was not a good offensive coordinator. He probably should have been fired mid-season. Todd Bowles felt it was, too quick of a turnaround to let him go, but I think that was a mistake. I think, Leftwich should have gone away. The other thing is Todd Bowles, his first year was abysmal at 4th down decision-making and decisions of that matter. And while he's still terrible at timeouts, including in that playoff game against the Lions, not calling your timeouts for some reason, that was weird. So he still has some real issues game management wise. He has gotten better. I'll put this chart next to me on the screen. Apologies if it's a little bit tough to see, and it might be a little small, but essentially what you're looking at is this is how often teams go for it when they should, according to analytics. How often, how many times do you do what the analytics say? And for the Eagles, they're very good. Patriots, Bill Belichick, not so good. Todd Bowles is what? Looks like kind of bottom 10, but like barely bottom 10, kind of fringe bottom 10 here, which is not the worst in the world, which is cool. I mean, it's not abysmal, and that's actually kind of where he was last year as well. Seems like he makes the occasional just complete head scratcher, but not great at this stuff. Like, definitely not a selling point, but maybe not the disaster some people make it out to be as well. So is Todd Bowles a good head coach? No, I wouldn't say so. I think that there's other things we can talk about. I think one thing he did do a very good job of was hiring Dave Canales. I also like the offensive coordinator hire that he just made. So we'll see how it goes. But that's good. That's something that's pretty positive, being able to hire good offensive coordinators. But at the end of the day, I think the value of what he brings in the defensive coaching probably doesn't outweigh the poor game management and still some head scratchers and some things that'll drive you crazy as an offense. When you're watching them on offense, even last year, Canales was far from perfect, although good enough to get a head coaching job. That's kind of the things I would say. That being said, I don't think he's a terrible head coach either. I don't think he's the worst head coach in football. I think prior to last year, I had him as one of the worst head coaches in football, but I do think he has improved in many ways this past season. I just, there still are some issues. So, yeah, that's kind of how I view Todd Bowles as a head coach. But, yeah, those are my thoughts. What are yours? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And, of course, as always, thanks for watching.